Morning everyone, welcome to another video. As you'll know, we're in a lockdown at the moment and there are lots of rules about what you can and can't do. I think it's important to follow those rules because if we're ever going to get through this, we need to be doing what we can to make it pass quicker. But you can go out once per day for exercise, and I wonder what that meant for photography. You know, can you take a camera? Are you allowed to do photography during that time? And I read recently in Amateur Photographer magazine that the government had said that you can take a camera with you and take photography while you're on your exercise. But you've got to be sensible, so you know, you can't do what you would normally do when you're doing landscape photography, for example, and set up all your equipment and spend hours composing your scene. You know, you've got to use some common sense, limit your time, and not be around too many people. So this video is going to be 5 tips so that you can get some good results with your photography when you're out on your daily exercise. Tip number 1, location and time. Make sure you come to a place where there's not too many people. The more remote the better, and come at a time when there's not too many people. So early morning's good, late in the evening, but yeah, just try and get out when there's not too many people. Even better than all that, come out when the weather's terrible, like it is now, because I haven't seen one other person yet, and obviously that's good when you're in the lockdown. So yeah, time and location, make sure there's few people around. Tip number 2, limit your time. Like I said, you can't be setting up all your equipment and taking ages to compose your scene, so you're going to have to limit your time for each shot. Personally, I'm setting myself a limit of 10 seconds per shot, and I think that'll be just enough to compose a quick shot, and might not be perfect, but come away with something that's usable. Tip 3, travel light. You don't want to be bringing all your equipment like tripod and loads of lenses and things. It's going to slow you down, it's going to take you time to swap your lenses, set up your tripod, all that kind of stuff. All I've got with me today is my Z7, no tripod, really minimal accessories. I've not even got obviously the bracket for the camera, so I don't need to mount it to the tripod. I've got a polarizing filter, but that's about it. And that's just going to mean that I can be much quicker, not having to take time messing around with equipment, and I quite like that as well. It's quite a nice feeling. It's quite liberating not to have all that equipment, and limiting yourself can also bring new challenges which will help improve your photography, so you know, it's good all around really. Tip 4, lens consideration. So again, you don't want to be bringing like loads of lenses, taking time to swap them and all that kind of stuff. Ideally you want to bring one lens. So that means you're going to have to think about what that lens is. You know, do you want a wide angle? If you do, you know, you're going to limit yourself to only wide angle shots. So you might want to bring a 35mm prime, 50mm prime, or like I have, I've just brought a standard zoom. It's my 24 to 70mm f4 lens, and that'll cover most focal lengths for what I need today. So yeah, I wouldn't recommend bringing anything specialised like a macro lens or a big telephoto lens. You know, with a macro lens you need to spend ages focusing on things. Telephoto lenses tend to be huge, so they're all going to slow you down. So yeah, think about your lenses. Ideally only bring one, and choose the right one for the job in hand. Tip 5, think about your camera settings. So I would recommend using the priority modes on your camera: shutter speed priority, aperture priority mode. They'll just help speed things up a little bit. You know, if you're in manual mode, you're going to be playing around with your aperture and balancing it with your shutter speed and your ISO, it can take quite a while. You want to limit the amount of time, so let the camera do some of the work. I'm using aperture priority mode. And even on this occasion, I wouldn't normally recommend this, but in the circumstances, why not use auto? It might not give you the best results, but it's going to be quick. And you know, when we're trying to stay safe, all the time you can save is all the better. So try those out. Again, the limitations might help you, might just bring something out, something new in your photography. You might learn something new, so everyone's a winner really. That's my daily exercise done for today. I've got some photos. I don't think they're going to be great, but that's not what this is about, is it? It's about staying safe, but still coming out, using your exercise time, staying healthy. It's good for the mental health. But yeah, just still getting some photography while you're out and having a bit of fun. So I'm not too worried if the photos aren't great, but yeah, we'll see when we get back. Alright, so I am home now. Some of the shots turned out much better than I expected actually. I'm not used to having such a little time to get a shot, at least not for landscape or outdoor photography anyway. So it was a little bit of a challenge. But I really enjoyed it, and it was nice not having all the extra equipment actually, so not having to lug around the tripod or extra lenses and then trying to change those. And to be honest, with the weather, that was a good thing because, yeah, trying to change lenses in pouring rain is not fun. It's really difficult, you know, to get a video as well and the photography when it's raining so heavily is actually quite challenging, so I'm glad I didn't have all the equipment. But yeah, nevertheless, it was really nice just to be out, and whatever the weather, it's good to be in the woods. And like I said, some of the shots came out alright, so let's have a look at them. I really like this one because it looks like those orange leaves in the background are kind of floating, like almost like orange snow. There's actually another tree behind there, and yeah, that's all the little orange leaves are on the tree behind. And because the background's quite dark, almost black, they really stand out, and they just give that kind of, I don't know, it's like a magical feel because they're almost like little speckles like floating in the air. I placed the tree quite centrally. I often put things quite central in my compositions. I know it's not always advisable, but I do quite like how this one just sits there in the middle, and I think if I'd have had it to one side, the vast majority of all the orange leaves were situated in such a way that I couldn't really place the main tree in the foreground to one side, so that's why it's central really. So this one, I like how it's got the path leading into the photo. I like the colours, it's nice juxtaposition between the oranges and a little bit of green. You've got that green tree which has got some really nice texture on it. Then you've got the blues in the background. I've just kind of brought the clarity and dehaze down a little bit in the background areas just to soften it. And then I've brought the clarity and texture up a little bit on that tree trunk in the foreground. So yeah, I mean, it's not an amazing image, but considering I gave myself 10 seconds and I'm on the move, not too bad. This one I quite like just because it's something you're not expecting to see in the middle of the woods usually. This area of the woodland was actually used for paintballing at one time, and there's all these kind of bits and pieces lying around that they're kind of used as barriers or things to hide behind, and they're still there in the woods. So yeah, I thought I'd get a shot of that and it came out fairly nicely, I think. So this is a subject I know really well. I've taken shots of this tree many times before, but I actually think this is one of the better shots I've got of the tree. There's no spaces in the background, so no really bright areas of light or gaps in the trees that are coming through there, and that just helps to just emphasise the main subject there with the tree and the moss growing on it. And I've brought the clarity and dehaze down a little bit around the edges, and also the saturation, and then just boosted that green just to make the tree really stand out. So yeah, probably the best shot I got today. So if you are able to get out, and you can do so safely when there's not too many people around, then you can go out, you can take your camera, and you can get some photography while you're out doing your daily exercise. Just use common sense, use some of those tips. So yeah, choose your location wisely, where there's not too many people. Try and get out early or maybe late in the evening when there's even less people, or even in bad weather. and then you're going to limit the amount of contact you have with other people. Make sure that you give yourself a time limit, so about 10 seconds for each shot. That's not so much of a problem if there's no one around, but the rules say that, you know, you are out exercising, so it's good to stick to the rules. And yeah, giving yourself a time limit means that you're not setting up all your equipment and spending ages, you know, you're just on the move as much as possible. And speaking of setting up equipment, travel light, don't take your tripod, just go handheld, don't take extra lenses, which brings us on to lenses, you know, stick to one if you can. Choose it wisely though, you know, don't go taking a macro lens or a big heavy telephoto. Stick to something that's versatile and you can use in most situations. And choose your camera settings wisely. Probably best not to go manual, use the shutter speed or aperture priority modes. Maybe auto, ISO, maybe go full auto. Anything that saves you a bit of time is going to help you stay safe and keep other people safe as well. So that's it for this week. Thanks a lot for watching everyone. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe. You can click the red button down there or on my face over here. And thanks a lot if you're already subscribed, and thank you for watching. So hopefully at some point we'll be able to get out again and go to some more exciting places and get some proper photography. But for now, thanks a lot guys, and I'll catch you next week, Sunday morning at 10 AM.